The real question is, can you get started right now without any acting classes whatsoever? Yes. You do not have to wait. Stop waiting. You can start right now. The problem is that most people just either don't know how to start or are too afraid to start because they're afraid of rejection. I'm telling you to go against that. Just start. Just start showing up. You want to become an actor, but you have no clue how to get in the industry. Well, that is what today's video is all about. I'm going to be teaching you how you can get into the film industry as an actor with little to no experience whatsoever. I'm so excited, but please remember that 90% of success is literally just showing up. The difference between you becoming successful as an actor and actress and somebody else, it's slim margin, and usually it has to do with work ethic. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be covering everything from training to auditions to building your portfolio, and ultimately how you can go from starting off at nothing to booking your first job. It's super important to know that acting is both an art, craft, and a business. So in order to become successful, you have to master all three. Really kind of two. Arts and crafts is the same, I guess. That part, but you need to master all of it. And so that's what I'm here to teach you. Part of anything that you're doing, let's say you wanted to learn how to play guitar, right? What would your first step to do? To be taking lessons of some sort, whether that's hopping on here on YouTube University, heading over to our site, signing up for our self-tape boot camp, or taking formal acting training lessons, actors workshops, scene study, all types of available resources. You should be tapping into some of them. So let's talk about it. Now, there's a couple definitions that I'm going to use that could probably help you just get a better understanding of acting as a craft, right? So let's talk about zero casting. And let's talk about just some basic techniques like the miser technique and method acting. If you want an entire video that discusses techniques for acting, please comment in the comments below, say technique. Oh, by the way, be sure you hit that like button, sub button, bell button. I'm here to help. Let's keep making dope videos. Zero casting means who you would be casted as if a casting director immediately saw you just walking down the street. Something you don't have to try to act. It's pretty much based off your personality and how you look. So for me right now, if a casting director saw me and they were like, okay, what's zero casting for Scribe? They might say like athlete, I have a hoodie on, or student, or best friend, or girlfriend, or like as soon as they see me, that's how they're gonna peg me. They might be like a creative or director, like, right? Because that's not something that I have to try to do. That's just something that I naturally can do. I don't have to try to act. Typically speaking, what you end up booking first is within your zero casting. So that's like this little box. Imagine this is a box right here. Your zero casting is all that stuff within a box. And the reason why is usually because, like I said, it doesn't take much. You don't have to act. You get some good headshots. They give you the lines. It's memorization, and you're adding your personality to the lines. So the real question is, can you get started right now without any acting classes whatsoever? Yes. You do not have to wait. Stop waiting. You can start right now. The problem is that most people just either don't know how to start or are too afraid to start because they're afraid of rejection. I'm telling you to go against that. Just start showing up. And so we're going to tell you how you can start showing up here in a second in a few more segments. But remember when I say zero casting, right? Now let's talk about a couple techniques. You can go learn at a Juilliard or some major acting studio. Maybe you're blessed to go study at Playhouse in LA or something similar, right? Either way it goes, regardless if you're working with a one-on-one coach or you're in a scene study class, you're at Tasha Smith Studios or you're in Juilliard, they are going to teach you a technique or multiple techniques. Some of the most common techniques would be method acting. Heath Ledger was known for method acting. His performance in The Dark Knight Rises, playing Joker, got him a posthumous Oscar. And it really is when you become the character full time, where you think like the character, you dress like the character, you eat like the character, you are the character while you're submerged in this experience, in this film or in this television show. There's lots of other known actors who do method acting as well. What I would say is that if it works for you, great, but that's a lot to carry on 24/7. My personal preference are other techniques to where when you click action, we can be in character, and when we click cut, we can be out of character, and you're able to distinguish between your own personality and the characters. That's my preference. It's not for everybody. So there's other techniques like the miser technique, which is really about your imagination, creating this backstory about this person, understanding this character. So then when action happens, you can become the character because you understand the character's choices, why they're choosing certain things, why they're behaving a certain way within a scene, all of that. Either way it goes, if you want to become, quote unquote, a serious actor or even a well-booked actor, more likely than not, you are going to have to learn a technique. You can start by reading acting books and just understanding techniques, or getting to a scene study class, or checking out one of our actors workshops that we offer here on the channel. Just get out there and learn. I would suggest, if you're first starting off, just start off light, get into some type of group scene study class, put up scenes, because the more reps you do, it's just like the gym. The more reps you do, the better you're going to get at it. And that's what's necessary, is that you commit to the process. You fall in love with the process of becoming a better actor or actress every single day. And if you put up more scenes, even if you learn multiple techniques, right, you're going to innately become better because you're putting your energy towards it. So get into some acting classes. It's always great to have a mentor, right? Your mentor could be your acting teacher, or it could just be somebody you want to model their career off. I'm not saying you want to do everything the way that they do it, how they do it. But if you had to choose, you'd be like, I want to act in films or have a career like Denzel. I want to act in films or have a career like Viola Davis or Meryl Streep or Zendaya or Emma Stone, whoever that is for you, right? So then you have something to be like, okay, cool, let me go back through all their films. Let me start at the beginning, right? And let me find out and understand what techniques they use. Did they go to acting class? Who was their acting coach? Who's their current acting coach? Are they still taking classes? What technique are they using? What did they do to get themselves here? What do they look like? Do I look like that? When you have something that at least gives you an initial guide, it's going to be like, okay, boom. Now you can adapt that as that thing changes, for sure. It's very adaptable as it changes, but I think you study the greats. Here on this channel, we're going to be breaking down some techniques and performances by some of the biggest actors in the world. So comment below if you want actors breakdowns, comment actors breakdowns, so I could break down people like Denzel and his performance in Training Day, or Viola Davis in Fences, or Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. Whatever it is that you want, please comment in the comment section below, because I want to make content that you all need and you want. Put in the work. Put in the work. That requires practice regularly. So yes, just like if I was to pick up guitar, I could have once a week guitar lessons and it would be perfectly fine, right? No. I would still have to practice on my own. So if you're going to get into a scene study, and now with the capabilities of just the internet and the world and Zoom, you don't have to be in one of these mecca cities in order to get success in what it is that you want to do. You could be in any city in the world. So let me mention that. But in addition to that, what you need to do is practice regularly. So like, how do you practice acting? Okay, self-tapes, huge self-tapes. We're going to give opportunities for actors right here on this channel. I'm going to give you guys sides for auditions to submit. And I will give you direct feedback on this channel. Comment self-tape if you want help with self-tapes, or head over to our website. We have a self-tape bootcamp that we're offering as well. But beyond that, you could just take scenes, your favorite scenes in films, and be like, okay, I'm going to play Denzel's character in this scene. I'm going to film a self-tape, and then I'm going to send it into my acting coach or another peer that I have that I really respect, and they're going to give me positive, constructive feedback that's going to help me in the right way. That part. So put in those reps constantly. The reps could be studying. Like, are you watching cinema? Are you watching television? Are you watching the type of stuff that you want to be in? That's what you need to do on a daily basis. Just like with any other skill you're trying to pick up, you need to put in reps and think about it. And it needs to just almost just take over your mind when it comes to your dreams and your ambitions. You're like, well, how do I actually book a gig? And I don't have any experience. Here's where you're going to start. Get your headshots. Now, headshots could get you in the door for an audition without you having any experience whatsoever. I'll give you some examples of some professional headshots. Here's some headshots that I have. Boo. Boo. These headshots have got me booked for auditions on several occasions. The key with headshots is to make sure that you're setting up headshots that match the characters that you want to portray. So looking at my headshots, based off of this, it matches the roles that I was getting sent auditions for major television shows on BET and ABC. I had a Rona's audition at one point, just all types of stuff, right? I was getting booked for auditions for girlfriend roles, best friend roles, smart student. Those were the casting that I was being sent, and a lot of that was based off of the headshots. Because I am now in the position where I am producing and directing my own films and casting my own films, I can give you both sides of the perspective, right? So there's the person who's submitting, and then there's the person who's selecting people. I've also worked with major casting directors, and I've seen them do it. It is a matter of like not even 3 seconds that they're spending on a headshot, and they have a breakdown. So be sure to submit a headshot that matches the breakdown. They have a breakdown in mind for a character. It could be like, I don't know, all right, 30-year-old ex-athlete, right? So if I'm looking for a 30-year-old ex-athlete, maybe there's a description about the nationality or not, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Then the headshots that I want to see somebody who's swole, looks athletic, right? It looks like they played football or basketball, right? So you need to take headshots that display that. I would have on like some type of a workout shirt or muscle shirt with a V-neck. You don't have to go full-blown shirt off, even though some people do submit those as headshots, so people can just kind of see what it is that they're working with. But it's important. If you want to be the girl next door, then your headshot shouldn't look like you was walking out the club, right? That's two different things. If you're trying to play a lawyer, then your headshot shouldn't look like you was the gangster off the street. That's two different things. Make sure your headshots match the roles that you're looking for. If you want to know more about headshots, or even get a headshot consultation, comment headshots in the comments below. Headshots in the comments below. Another major key when it comes to headshots is just making sure that you have a professional headshot. But you're like, okay, maybe I don't have money for a professional headshot. Cheat code, here you go. You can get yourself a plain background. You can get yourself some halfway decent lighting. Be sure to check out my Amazon Essentials videos for actors and creators, right? Because I can go over all the things that you're going to need to get started with this dream. And you can take it with an iPhone, and that's enough to get you started. There's no excuse, right? Because nowadays you don't need an you don't need an agent, you don't need a manager. You can submit yourself on these websites, and I have another video where I'm going to break down like how do you really book these gigs, right? You can submit yourself on websites using just your headshots. So let's say you're in classes, you got your headshots. The next step that I would give you would be to create a reel. So what a reel is like, it's almost like, imagine you've seen ESPN. They put in a top 10 and they just show a bunch of plays, right? The top 10 plays of basketball a night or whatever, right? That's a highlight reel. Well, it's the same thing for an actor and actress. You want to put together your highlight reel of your performances. All right, so let's start from like ground zero. Maybe you don't have none. That's okay. You can make it up. You could take some of your favorite scenes from films and act as if you're playing these characters in this film, right? And you could record your performance of that character in the film, have somebody else in the scene with you, and then you could chop that up. You can say, okay, here's how I would perform in a drama. Here's how I would perform in a comedy. Here's how I would perform in a rom-com. A minute and a half, a scene apiece. Make sure that the scene is focused on you, right? It needs to be focused on you and not on somebody else. And so that means that I don't want to really hear a lot of dialogue from the other person. I'm trying to look at you. This could be a game changer if you have a reel. This could be the difference between you getting an audition or not. So yes, as somebody who's casting, I'm scrolling through all the headshots, right? I'm selecting them and I'll be like, okay, cool. If I have time, I'm going to click that person's profile and I'm going to check out their reel. Right? I'm like, ooh, they can actually act. I really want to see this person now, right? I definitely want to see them in this role. And then you submit your audition, and then next thing you know, you're booking your role. It's a little bit more to the process, but we'll talk about that later on in another video. But you're like, okay, even if you had music videos you did, school plays you did, all of this could be considered in your reel, and you put it together with what it is you have, work with what you have, and then go from there. If you're doing actual booking work, then I would say that's probably one of the biggest keys. A lot of people be focused on making a bunch of money to start, and it's like, nah. If you're getting into acting to get rich quick, probably not likely to happen. I tell people that you should be, and we'll get into this later, surrounding yourself, setting yourself up for success is about making sure that you're making the right moves financially for yourself while you're chasing your dream, because this actor's path is not for the weak. It's not for people who are trying to have some type of overnight success. It's just not likely to happen if you're waiting to be casted. Now, something else we'll talk about on the channel is to stop waiting to be casted and start making your own content. But we're not there. We're just on if you strictly want to act and get started as an actor or an actress. This is what you can do. Make sure that you can get your reel. Is it a deal breaker for you to get started in the industry that you don't have a reel? No. Is it a deal breaker that you don't have an agent or a manager? No. I'm not even going to spend time on agents or managers for this video. If you want a video about that, and if that helps you for your success, then go ahead and comment agent or manager in the comments below, and I'll make a totally separate video. But for now, this is how you can get started by yourself with no help in your house from anywhere around the world. You can do it yourself. From there, put together your resume. If you're actually starting to book stuff, there's a specific format. Usually it's on the left. It's just kind of like what the title was of the thing. Then next, it's a category of what your character is. And then third would be like where it landed. Is that a deal breaker for you booking jobs? No. As you get into, I guess, tougher roles, or, higher up in the industry, then yes, your resume matters. But initially, if you're booking a lot of indie gigs, student films, commercials, music videos, it's not a deterrent if you don't really have a lot on your resume. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it in this video. If you want more, then you can comment resume in the comments below. But here's a couple examples of what acting resumes look like. It's something that you can make yourself on a Word doc or even on Google Docs, and you can prepare what it is that you have. Now, what is important on a resume that you should have is a specific skill. Let's say I'm casting for a horseback riding film. I would need to know if you have 10 years of horseback experience. That could be the difference between you landing that job versus somebody else, for sure. If I'm doing a basketball video, which is a basketball film, which is something I literally just did, I do want to know if you played overseas for a period of time or played in the G League. Like, oh yeah, I definitely want to see this person audition because I don't have to train somebody to play this sport or do this specific skill. Are you fluent in French? For sure, let that person know. That's when that resume comes in when you're first starting off. It could be the thing that gets you in the door if you have a specific skill. So I would focus more on that than the actual gigs that you have and had not booked, if that makes any sense. If you're going to acting class, that's something you can have mentioned on there, or a specific acting coach or a technique that you use. You can have that on there as well. A huge key to acting and booking jobs is just the audition process. I'm going to have several different videos on the channel about auditioning, and more importantly, self-tapes. In this environment that we're living in right now, I would say probably like 97% of your auditions are going to start off with a self-tape. You're not getting in person until you reach a certain stage. Typically for smaller films right now, it starts off with, like I said, just a submission. So it's headshots, resume, reel. Then from there, they'll have you do a self-tape. You might get a second self-tape request, maybe, probably not. If they like you, they're going to move you to the chemistry read or a live read via Zoom with the casting director. If that works, from there, then you might get brought in for the producers or directors, and then from there, contract, cast, dates, right? Boom. That's on a smaller level. Some shows move even faster than that because it's rush calls and they don't have time for stuff. They see you, they like you, they cast you, boom. I usually am smaller than that because I see you, I like you, I see what you brought to the table, I cast you, boom. And then we might have table reads or rehearsals via Zoom. A lot of this stuff is done online because, one, saves the production costs, and then two, it's just like, why not? Why are we renting out places and doing all this extra stuff when we can do most of this online? So you need to master the self-tape. If you master the self-tape, you will get booked. There are several techniques for self-tape. I teach some in my own self-tape boot camp, so I'm happy to teach you guys. If you want to be a part of that, head over to the site and check that out. But there are just some basic, I would say, wins that you do with self-tapes, which is having clean audio, right? Having a blank background. What I got going on back here, way too busy. Don't want to do that. Having a blank background behind you, having a halfway decent camera quality. I'm using the ZV-1 right now, and you can get away with an iPhone or a Galaxy within the last 2 versions. Typically, is going to be good enough quality to get the job done. If you need to put a boom microphone on because you don't want what I have on right now, which is like a wireless lav mic, you can do that because this could be a little bit distracting in the self-tape. And then just looking the part in your self-tape. Dress for the character that you're trying to portray. Don't have on a bunch of distracting clothing. Know your eye line. Most self-tapes are not here with center framing. Most self-tapes are here, off camera, reading to the character, following the person around the room. These are just small little tips. I'm going to make an entire separate video dedicated to self-tape, so be sure to check it out on the channel because it really will help you take a step forward. In-person auditions are a little bit different. If you do get an in-person auditions, know if they want you to read to the reader, which is probably here, or to that person, to this person. Be off freaking book. Self-tape, in person or not, be off book. Definition of off book means memorizing your lines. That's it. You probably get about 1 mess up, like, oh, can I restart? Maybe 1, depending on how far you are. But the major key is to have your sides in your hand anyway. Be flipping the pages as you're going through. You should have that puppy down and have techniques to help you memorize lines as well that I'll be doing on the channel. But be ready, be prepared, be professional. Do not be late. Oh no. Stop making excuses. Everybody has something going on in their life. If you can't make it, you can't make it. But showing up with a bunch of excuses is just like a big pet peeve for everybody. Like, nobody wants to hear all that. You're here now, do your work, and be good at it. That's it. That's all, folks. A lot of people are heavy on like networking and industry mixers and stuff like that. That's all great. But I say be specific with your networking. Like, yeah, you should want to meet casting directors. You should want to get in front of casting directors if you're an actor or an actress. You should want to meet other filmmakers, indie filmmakers that are starting off who will just cast you in the project. You have to have the right mindset of being willing to build your resume and your work so other people start talking about you. And then from there, as you get into more of a major platforms and be ready for an agent and a manager, that's when the money comes in. That's when things are in consistent basis. But you're just first starting off, commit to the process, fall in love with the process. And the process is becoming a great actor and actress. Commit to studying, going to acting classes on a regular basis, whether you're booking or not booking, putting up self-tapes, putting scenes. just become great. And when you become great and you have an extremely great work ethic, then from there, when that quote unquote luck or blessing opportunity, you're going to have the preparation, and then boom, you're going to get the result that you want. A lot of people get these opportunities, but they're not prepared for their opportunities or ready for their moment. And then what happens? So I think it's a combination of both, you know, making sure, and it's not really luck. It just keeps showing up, and it's just going to happen, right? You're going to get these opportunities if you just keep showing up, because it may not be the person you meet in the room. It may be the other person who was in the room, who talked about you in the room, who remembered you from this or that or this. And then they're like, hey, we need to bring this person in. That's how it happens, but you have to have that work ethic. A huge element to becoming successful as an actor and actress is what a lot of people don't talk about: your environment. And what do I mean by environment? I'm talking about who is on your team. You need to surround yourself around people who are rooting for you and your dreams, your goals, and ambitions. Sometimes if you're young, or even if you're adult, then everybody who's around you is not necessarily rooting for you. It is not an easy feat to become a successful actor or actress in quote unquote Hollywood. That's not the route for everybody. And so you want to make sure you have friends, and this is part of getting into a community of actors or actresses that are really doing stuff that can help you and root you on if you don't land the job. They're still rooting for you. They're still helping you achieve your goals. Other filmmakers, it's like, okay, so you can always be working in some capacity or another, because indie filmmakers need people to be in their stuff. So having the right attitude is going to help you get there. The other thing that I would call quote unquote environment is things I do not suggest. I don't suggest just moving to a city that's a mecca city like Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York. Yes, are there more opportunities available for acting and actresses? Yes. Is it necessary for you to become successful anymore? No, because of the elements that I talked about when it comes to self-tape, etc. However, if you are going to do that, you need to move with a game plan. I'm in Southern California. It's extremely expensive. You need to move over here, just keeping it a buck, with a job or a game plan for like doing Uber or something, with a car, with some resources, with some something. I don't want you to end up homeless on the street. I want you to have a game plan, have a place to stay, whether that's with a roommate or a family member or something. Have a game plan, have a 3-month, a 6-month, a 1-year game plan. This is what I'm trying to get. I'm going to get in acting classes within this amount of time. I'm going to go on this many auditions, and you manifest what it is that you want based off of your work ethic and your preparation. If you do that, you can be very successful at this. I've seen people go from 0 to 100 really fast, but that's because they approached it like a business, not willy-nilly. And that's what you need to do in order to become successful as an actor and to make it in Hollywood. So I know that was a lot, but it was very much necessary. And ultimately, I hope that it helps you on your journey and you at least have a starting point to go after this dream and goal that you're on. I'm always looking for people to cast in my films, so I'm always going to have opportunities available. It's important that you're sign up for our newsletter so you can get updates when I am casting. You check out the free resources that I have available on this channel and on my website, like a free ebook guide that helps you get started as an actor, as well as just a plethora of other opportunities to just get things going. So with all that being said, I hope that on this journey, you don't forget the most important thing. That's 90% of success is showing up. The difference between you becoming successful as an actor or an actress is very, very small. And usually it has to do with showing up. I can't tell you the amount of times that I have put out a casting for a role, and I probably get 300 people to send in a headshot, right? And then out of those 300 people, maybe I select 50 people to do a self-tape. Of those 50 people, maybe only 10 of them actually turn in the self-tape, which lets those other 40 people know that the difference between them landing the job or not landing the job, that margin was actually really small. Because of the 10 people, right? Now, 1 over 10, that's a good odd. That's a good odd for you to land a gig. So when you get the chance and the opportunity, be prepared for the opportunity and keep showing up. That's it. That's all, folks. Please do me a favor, hit the like button, sub button, bell button. Love ya. Gotta go.